It's those little details, the sparks under downforce, brake lockups, finger troubles in pit stops, and they even recognize Latifi as the GOAT. But racing games live and die on their driving experience. It's all well and good having a dry line appearing in the wet and some tyre strategy to think about, but if you don't nail the actual driving model, then what's the point? Most are comparing this game to Circuit Superstars.
Circuit Superstars.
Circuit Superstars.
Circuit or Karting Superstars.
But my take is that the devs are huge fans of Art of Rally. And why not, Art of Rally is amazing. That game nailed the atmosphere and made drinking in the history of the sport such a pleasure. Formula Legends really tries to do the same thing with its own witty interpretations of the history of F1. It's not quite as clever as the inspiration, but those who know their F1 history are gonna find a lot to smile about here. From the 60s on, you can jump straight into any era of F1 you like, needing to only unlock specific teams or later seasons in the era. You can be racing a 60s style canoe one moment and then be in a V6 video game the next. Even the tracks have eras. Old school tracks are, well, they're kind of old. Lots of runoff and hay bales for your horse or something. New tracks not only have all the features of their modern doppelgangers, but they even change the light of the sun to make the colours more vibrant. But of course, that is something you can turn off in the settings if you are a complete Philistine. I could talk more about everything that makes this game sound amazing, except the actual sound, because that's just okay. But it's about time we got around to the actual driving. This is one part of the game that's not going over so well. Lots of people complain about what they say is lag in the controls, but I never felt that, and my tests back me up on this. The input lag that I experienced was between 50 to 80 milliseconds, which is not brilliant, but if you watched my last video, and you really should have, you know that a lag of around 80 milliseconds is competitive with what most PC sims are putting out. So we can rule out lag as a cause of the issue. What I think most people call lag is just a slow steering response. You can see this when I go through the S-bends and chicanes. Unless I predict the second quarter and start turning well before, I just run wide, waiting to get the full steering lock. And heads up, just don't leave those switches unswitched. You need the assists here. When I first started playing, I thought, yeah, I'm a big boy sim racer, I don't need these baby assists. Yeah, that didn't go so well for me. The braking I could get used to without ABS, but I seem to have very little grip at low speeds and catching a spin was almost impossible. Just turning on the assists makes the game so much better, but still far from what it could be. You go from unplayable with no assists to kind of boring with them. You're not really driving the car, but you're learning the track and just predicting it. Clippy has a couple of videos that demonstrate this really well. I'll link to them below. He also has some ideas about how arcade physics should work. Just take a look at how this car moves. It's not sim, but oh my god, this car moves in a way that just has to be fun to play. There's just no way it's not. That physics model into Formula Legends? We can only dream. The cars in Formula Legends just don't move the way I want them to. I want to be back in the car into the braking like I'm some MotoGP rider before drifting out of turns like my name is Tsuchiya. In this game you're either on the track or you're off it, but the car is straight either way. That is unless you're an idiot and put on some slicks in the wet. The car is straight until you're, boom, in the wall. There's no in between and no saving it. There's also no fun. But apparently the devs are hearing this feedback and have a new steering setting in the works. That might help the feeling of lag, but I hope to see some more development beyond that. Modern F1 cars might be stuck to the ground, but when I'm in one of these things, it needs to be tarmac rally time. I've yet to mention the graphics, but as you can see, they're doing the job. Popping out some stats, you can see that I'm getting a solid 120 FPS on my 5080 with around 40% usage while my CPU barely notices the game's even running. Given the headroom my system has, I really wish I wasn't seeing this graphical nonsense. I mean, sure, eliminating this takes power, but I've got power on tap. Just let me use it, come on. And I have to mention the bugs. The game has locked up on me quite a few times and the sound of the engine cuts out so frequently that I cannot use manual transmission as I need to hear the gears to be able to shift. And of course there are things like rudimentary damage and fuel and tyre wear. None of it really matters till they get the racing right. All in all, let's add this game to the pile of games with a ton of promise that are probably never going to reach their potential. Formula Legends has been created with a lot of love, and it's obvious that there are some real F1 fans on the team. I have every confidence that all the bugs are going to be sorted out, and I'm sure the talk of steering tweaks is going to come to pass. But just as circuit superstars never quite conquered their steering issues, I have very little expectations of this game ever getting any sort of significant physics update. But we can hope.